Hello and welcome to our latest video update of the weekly brief. This is the Maine School Superintendents Association and Maine School Boards Association's regular video update during the legislative session, keeping you up to date on everything that is going on in Augusta. I'm Robbie Feinberg. I am the Maine School Management Association's Director of Communications and Government Relations in Augusta. I am there very frequently advocating on your interests there. So today is January 28th. It's a Tuesday, and we've got some information for you about certain bills that we are watching in Augusta, what we are expecting in the weeks ahead, and then just some general background on what we are thinking that we may see over the course of the legislative session over the next 3 or 4 months. So first off, I wanted to start with a document that we did receive from the revisor's office last week. This was last Friday, and that is this document. I think it is 83 pages long. This is the list of every single bill request that was submitted in the legislature for the upcoming legislative session. This was more than 2,000 bill requests. It was quite a bit. I mean, this is probably about what we tend to see each session, but it is certainly quite a bit to go through. By our count, just by looking at some of the titles, that's really all we're working with a lot of these is just kind of the titles. We don't have language yet for a lot of these. But by looking at them, we're able to get a rough sense of how many of them are involving public education. We're estimating maybe around 250 to 300. We could obviously potentially see more as well. But they also do give us a good sense of certain subjects, certain themes that we may see throughout the legislative session this year. So we narrowed it down to just a few of them that we wanted to share with you. One big theme of legislation is school construction. We are seeing many legislators looking for new ways to take on school construction. We know that this is important to so many of you that our current system is just not providing enough funding to really help our local school districts to be able to renovate and build the schools that we know that our students really do need. So we're seeing lots of different bills around this. Some would actually create new revenue sources that would help with education and school construction. Others would look to potentially change that process. I'm sure that we will have many more details on what these bills look like in the weeks ahead. But obviously, what is going to be influencing this as well is the Governor's Commission on School Construction that is taking a big look at policies to potentially consider that the legislature could take up. The report from that commission is due right around April 15th. So we are expecting that to play a big role in any legislation, but also some of these ideas from legislators could also play into it. We're encouraged, though, to see that this is a big topic for so many, that the governor is looking at this. Clearly, the state has this as a priority, but also several different legislators are also clearly watching this subject. So that definitely has us very encouraged in the months ahead. A few other issues that we are watching for. One is school funding. We are seeing a few different legislators proposing bills to look at school funding. Some would look at getting more money to economically disadvantaged students. Some would be looking at getting more money for homeless students as well. And again, this is something where we are expecting a big study to come out on school funding and the EPS funding formula. We're expecting that by around March. So that will likely play into a lot of things. But in the meantime, we can definitely are expecting to see certain bills to take on school funding in the legislature. A couple others to watch. Student behavior is a big one. We know that this has been a big concern. This is something our organization has talked about. Several other education organizations have talked about is just those dangerous student behaviors. We know how much that those are impacting our classrooms. They are impacting families. They're impacting educators right now. And so we're seeing different proposals to take that on. It's varied kinds of proposals, some to try to change certain laws, others to get more funding for mental health and other needs such as that. We're going to see lots of different proposals around this, and we're really encouraged by that because we think that this really is a topic that the state needs to look at. This has become such a huge issue for our staff members, for our administrators, for our students as well. And so we do have some hope that hopefully some of these some of these bills could potentially have a big effect and really help with that. And then just a few others that I listed. Student transfers, that is an issue that we are expecting to play a big role. We've seen several bills around that. Our organization has been working on certain policies around that. Teacher certification, many bills around teacher certification this year. We know the State Board of Education is also working on this. We once again expect school vouchers to be playing a big role, to have several bills. Student attendance was also highlighted. The issue of cell phones, that was also highlighted. There were several bills around either, pilot programs around, restricting student devices or just straight up bans on cell phones or electronic devices from students. So we'll be seeing more of that. And then social media as well, and working to, potentially limit that or change, certain rules around that for our students. None of these issues are necessarily major surprises. We've been talking with legislators for several months around some of these different bills, but these are just a few that we wanted to kind of give you a sense, give you a preview of the issues that we are expecting to rise to the forefront over the course of this session. Obviously, the state budget is going to be something that is going to be a big discussion point, and how these policies intersect with the state budget and the limited funding that is available, where that's all going to be determined over the next few months. But for now, we feel like we've got a good sense of what to expect in education policy over the next few months. Now, in terms of just a few bills that we are watching for our organization, we are going to be testifying for the first time next week. That's where things really look like that they will be ramping up in terms of legislative committees, the Education Committee, Labor Committee, others actually holding hearings on particular bills. Wednesday, February 5th, that is going to be the big day for several different bills. Just to give you a few different examples of bills that will be testifying on. One of them would be an act to require employers to disclose pay ranges and to maintain records of employees' pay histories. We know that would certainly affect our schools in some ways. Another one would be an act to allow employees to request flexible work schedules. In the Education Committee, we've also got a few other bills as well. One is, most of these ones right now, they're just bills submitted by the Department of Education. One would be updating the laws governing education in the unorganized territories of Maine. Another would be updating the requirements around school innovation waivers to basically hopefully enable schools to be able to more easily take on certain kinds of innovative initiatives within their schools. And then there would be another one regarding school enrollment for military connected students. This would be amending our student transfer process to enable students whose parents or families are in the military to be able to, get a little bit more educational stability. So as I mentioned, most of those right now, they are ones kind of submitted by the department. So we haven't seen many of the ones that are submitted by legislators. But one bill that we are particularly watching for next week, this is LD 152. This is an act to amend the Freedom of Access Act to require a specific time frame for agencies to comply with requests for public records. This is a bill that we are watching very closely. Basically, what this would do would put up a deadline for a body to fully comply with a particular FOA request. It would say that they would only have 30 days to fully comply and to get all of the records requested, to have all of that done and having that finished within 30 days of a request. We firmly believe in transparency. Our organization does. We know so many of your schools do. We want to be as transparent as possible. We want to really ensure that our community members, that our families, others, they are, fully included within our schools, and that they are getting they are getting the records. And we know that so many of you are able to get those records requests done very quickly if you can. But we are really concerned that this could be a challenge for a lot of districts. Basically, especially those districts that have really limited staffing, that don't have many, don't have many extra resources. We know that we've seen certain situations where schools have had, real, near daily requests, and so expecting them to be able to really handle so many requests in a short period of time, getting all of those done within 30 days. We're concerned that that could be really potentially impossible for some of our districts. So it's a bill that we are certainly watching closely. We will be testifying on. If you have experiences around this, we would encourage you, if you would like to as well, feel free to testify on that bill. The hearing is the morning of Wednesday, February 5th. Well, as I mentioned, we'll be testifying on that. You can join us if you'd like. You can also sign up to submit electronic testimony on that. Um, and yeah, so that's what we're expecting. We have many more bills that we are likely going to be seeing in the weeks ahead. We're really expecting public hearings to really start ramping up when we get into February. Be probably seeing, maybe close to a dozen bills a week that will be heard by different committees. It should really get busy, and we will for sure be in Augusta advocating for you and getting you information on all of the bills that will be scheduled for public hearings in the weeks and the months ahead. In the meantime, we'll just continue to encourage you to, really ensure strong connections with your own local legislators. That really is so important right now, just to strengthen those connections. And then we know we will need your help to advocate on particular bills of concern. When we see those come up, we will be reaching out to you, asking for your support. So please stay in touch if you can. We will be in touch with you in the weeks ahead. Thank you so much again for your work and your partnership every single day, and we will be in touch soon. Thank you.